What really is the truth behind the Tower of God? How is Bum secretly connected to this tower? So what's up guys, Foxen here. In case you're hungry for some tower intel, or just curious about the Tower of God lore. Perfect! Find out if you notice any of this foreshadowing in the current anime. Naturally this will have stuff past the anime, which is actually perfect if you don't want to wait 5 to 10 years. So tower smash that like and let's start this climb. But first off, a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Bleach Immortal Soul. You know how much of a huge Bleach fan I am, and perfect timing with the Bleach anime fine art coming back. So go ahead and make your team with Ichigo, Rukia, or any of your favorite captains. Go ahead and unlock and level up your own Bleach team. The best part is that this Bleach game is officially licensed by the Bleach Anime Production Committee, which means yes, your favorite original Bleach voice actors are back. For me, just hearing this got me excited. Even better, the game does use the original kick-ass anime soundtrack. Just listening to this is gonna make you want to rewatch the Bleach anime. Or better, this Bleach game does allow you to revisit the original Bleach story, which I found to be a perfect way to get a refresher, but much more interactive. You could also choose from PvP, Battle Arena, and Roguelike for more fun. I do like how the game is pretty generous for new players. Right now you could get the Ice Captain and his Lieutenant for free. I know you'll definitely love one of them. So this is available for iOS and Android. Just click the first link down below. And I know you have the time. Plus, as a bonus, you are helping to support the channel too. Go ahead and get this Bleach game after this video. Once upon a life, there existed this grand tower that stretched forever into the night sky. Although calling it a tower may not actually be the best description. Let me explain. Surely at some point there should be the very top, but that has never been reached yet. To this day, there are 135 known floors. The highest level reached is floor 134. This is where the king of the tower and his castle is located. Every single floor is made out of 3 parts: the inner tower, the middle area, and the outer tower. Funny, looking at it this way, it may actually remind me of the Attack on Titan walls. Likewise, I doubt everything is a perfect circle. And I know what you're wondering, how about the size? So here, to get an idea, the outer tower area is roughly the size of North America. That's right, try to imagine that for a moment. They say it's so massive that some of the outer areas don't even realize what King Jahad is, or that he's ruling the inner tower area. With this fact, you'll start to get an idea why the word tower doesn't really paint all that accurate of an image about this. It's not your normal tower, it's definitely more like this divine Tower of God, if you will. But seriously, if anything, it may be better not to think of this taking place on Earth, but more like a cylinder stretching out in space. The current known world could be better seen as North America stacked 135 times. Although please definitely don't misunderstand. There is some space outside of the tower. This is where Bam and Rachel came from, along with a few others that I mentioned in my last Tower of God video. Unfortunately, almost any info about the outside is almost completely unknown. Anyway, the Tower of God story from the beginning. The real tale started over 10,000 years ago before the current anime tale. You had a young blonde and his 12 companions starting this extraordinary adventure. 2 of the people in the party included a lady known as Arlene Grace and a guy known as V. This group was truly the first Irregulars up until this point. They were the first to take this tower climb. Jahad and company should have been greeted by head-on, and soon after taking their first Tower of God challenge. At this point, the tower administrators did not exist, which meant that Jahad and friends had to challenge each of the floor guardians directly. You could imagine how difficult that alone would be. On top of this, it wouldn't be all sunshine and rainbows within the group. Perhaps a young Jahad was much more innocent. Jahad actually had a crush with the wonderful Arlene. Unfortunately for the future tower ruler, her heart belonged to someone else. Arlene was in love with the other party member mentioned earlier, V. Eventually along their adventures, they got closer and closer and then began an actual relationship. Skipping ahead to floor 100, Jahad and his group were granted immortality for completing this grand task. Another fast forward later, the end of their journey. On floor 134, Jahad announced that they would stop climbing the tower. He would then become king, the ruler of everyone and everything in the tower. Jahad himself held the key to possibly moving forward in the tower one day. Perhaps to prevent anyone from ever trying, Jahad split that key in half. One of the halves was further split into 13 pieces, which meant 1 part for everyone in the party. Unsurprisingly, not everyone was happy with the sudden turn of events. V and Arlene were pissed off. They wanted to keep on climbing the tower. Arlene accused Jahad of being blinded by falsehoods. It was just a shame, Jahad had already pretty much closed any option for them to keep on going solo. What added fuel to this tower drama fire was that Jahad still had feelings towards Arlene. In fact, right after becoming the king, he found Arlene and proposed to her. And no one watching this is going to be surprised about the outcome. Arlene was already engaged to V. She quickly refused. Really should have thought that one out, buddy, Jahad. Arlene and V then quickly ran away. These guys went into full fight mode. They formed this organization to oppose Jahad. They even waged a war against him to try to steal the key to the next floor. You can imagine how pissed off Jahad was. The guy fought back. During this time, the other 10 party members had their own issues among them. An important note about this is that the details about this have not been revealed yet. The story so far has dropped hints about these party members being mixed on the whole Jahad King idea. But at the end you had this outcome. The 10 guys decided to side with Jahad for some unknown reason. Ultimately, V and Arlene lost their war against Jahad and became fugitives. So it was time to run away. During this time, they definitely had some sexy time, cause Arlene was soon to become a mother. Somehow, Jahad caught wind of the rumor that Arlene would have a child. The Mad King tracked the newborn child, then brutally killed it in front of Arlene. Yeah, looks like Arlene dodged the bullet. So you could imagine how a mother would feel after that. Arlene went completely insane. Which leads to another important note. The following details passes are records from her, but they are questionable based on her sanity. After having her child murdered, Arlene tried to commit suicide several times. The only issue was that she had already been granted immortality. Dying was no longer an option for her. On the other hand, her partner V was a different case. For some unknown reason, V was not immortal. Supposedly he didn't make that immortality deal. After seeing his beloved wife suffer, just losing her mind, V decided to take his own life. That's right, he completely logged out of Tower of God. V did, however, leave a note. He told Arlene to forget about everything, to return to Jahad and her companions to live happily ever after. Which, pretty impossible at this point. Arlene did not listen. She wouldn't return. Instead, she wanted to find a way to escape from the tower, so she wandered around alone. No one knows for how long, but surely it must have been a long period of time, potentially hundreds or thousands of years. Arlene had actually used some magic to keep her child's body from wasting away, which did mean she was carrying around the body along with the leftover keepsake from V during her wandering time. Arlene truly believed there was a way to bring this child back to life, if only she could make it into the outside. One day, that just so happened to happen. Arlene somehow managed to find a way outside of the tower. She hoped to go to a place without Jahad or the administrator. Arlene had decided she wanted to offer her child's body to the god on the outside. Due to that, she left this prophecy that someday the god's power would enter his body and awaken again. Her child would one day open the doors to this tower and return. That child would achieve revenge on his parents' behalf and finish this war against Jahad with his own hands. He would destroy the corrupt and bring truth to the tower. A messenger from Gacha placed this red thorn into the child's hand. The child would then use that red thorn to cut the throat of the greedy king. He would then find the hidden key, open the door, and lead everyone in the tower to greater heights. That's right, you guessed it. Bam is supposed to be the child of this prophecy. Later on in events past the Tower of God anime, Bam is forced to not only join this group called Fug, but he also takes the name Jue Viole Grace. And in case there's any doubt, Bam has previously met with a younger version of King Jahad. This Jahad immediately recognized Bam as being Arlene's son. But wait, the story before Bam is not yet finished. After Jahad became king, the 10 companions ended up becoming the 10 great family leaders. These guys did everything they could to erase any records of Arlene and her child. Any structure or record related to them were destroyed. Jahad went as far as manipulating records and memories of artificial life in the workshop. And this king really is persistent. Jahad has notably been searching for a way to control destiny itself. Although something tells me he's about to run out of luck eventually. The records from Arlene were left behind in her personal pocket. Bam later on was destined to find it. Still, the Mad King was super obsessed with Arlene even after she left. She was after all his first love that he could not forget. Jahad actually built his own altar on floor 43 after she ditched him and disappeared from the tower. He built this shrine for worshipping in the land that Arlene cherished. This was a place where Arlene gave birth to Bam and raised him. On top of this, Jahad made his followers flock towards it. I would say jealous ex-lover, but Jahad didn't even make it to first base. This guy's just cuckoo. Anyway, this was when the Irregular Enryu came into the picture. One day, he suddenly appeared above floor 43. He turned the tower's Shinzu crimson red. He was described as a messenger from God who came to deliver the thorn to Bam. Enryu couldn't forgive that the land that Arlene once cherished was being defiled. When he appeared, he called out Jahad for being a false king. Anyone who followed and believed in him would face death. Some of the people on this floor left, but some hardcore Jahad followers attacked him immediately. That day, Enryu made it rain. Countless spears of red Shinzu devastated the battlefield. Poor Jahad ass-kissers, they jumped like fucking flies. This actually led into the floor guardian erupting out. It was super pissed off at Enryu. Even after the Colossal Administrator changed form several times to fight back, the result was clear. Enryu was that powerful. Previously, the administrators were thought to be immortal. Enryu proved that wrong. During their brawl, you had mountains, seas, buildings, really everything on the floor getting destroyed. The aftermath left the ground completely red. It ended with the floor administrator losing its power and going into a deep slumber. Even post-victory, you still had this crimson red heavily raining down, smashing the floor. That floor soon became known as the Floor of Death. And to this day, rumors about this event still circle around. But Enryu was not done. He hit this divine thorn that had the power to kill King Jahad in this destroyed floor. After hearing the rumors, the group opposing Jahad started to look for it. Bomb currently has a couple of the pieces of this god-killing thorn. Bomb does believe it is his destiny to gather all of the thorn pieces and slay King Jahad. And go ahead and take a guess. How do you think that Jahad reacted to this? Jahad chose to kill any of the survivors on this floor of death. That way, he hoped to stop any rumors about this Enryu person from spreading. Can't say anything if he don't exist, right? After this whole event, it's not really hard to see why the floor administrators and tests exist as they currently do. Hopefully they're able to spot any threat to the tower, or more specifically towards Jahad early on. And really briefly, getting into the important groups of the tower. At the very top, we have Jahad. This includes his own army and the Jahad princesses. The princesses of Jahad aren't actually his, but instead infused with his powerful blood. Supposedly, Jahad himself is so powerful that his blood does not allow him to have a kid. With Jahad at the very top, we have the 10 great family leaders. Each of these families has their own sub-branches. There's also some fun family stuff within them about being in the main family branch versus the indirect family. Then for FUG or FUG, this is the main group fighting against Jahad. At the top, this is headed by Grace Luslik, the person who previously served under V. The group includes elders, 11 Slayer seats, along with normal members. They made enough slots for each of the Slayers to challenge Jahad plus the 10 great family leaders. Naturally, they are made up of people who oppose Jahad. The fun part is that this does include people from the 10 great families. Oh yes, Tower of God is like Game of Thrones, back when it was good. As of this moment, Bomb currently is more or less a Slayer candidate. Next up, Wool Hike-sung. This was briefly mentioned in my last video. Yurik is another irregular who supposedly entered the tower to find Enryu. This super overpowered dude eventually became a high ranker and proceeded to start this group. But don't get this wrong, they're completely different from the previous one. They're actually open to pretty much anyone joining, since their main goal is to find a way to get out of the tower. Yurik himself equates that to freedom, much more than anything inside of this cramped tower. And then we get into something known as the Native Ones. Before Jahad and friends entered the tower, supposedly there was this giant who lived inside of the tower. The giant split his body into 5 species to create descendants. These descendants were known as the Native Ones. What makes them special is that the Native Ones were able to control the elements within the tower. But then you have Jahad thrown into the mix. And I do stress that we do need more information about this. But supposedly Jahad killed off all of the direct descendants on the outside. Any of the remaining Native Ones were cursed or killed off too. As of the current story, Rock has shown to be possibly directly connected to these Native Ones. That's right, that fun lovable guy. There has been another character as being hinted as either being related to the Native Ones or inheriting some of their power somehow. Another little bonus tidbit I'll mention. You know about how the world is composed of Shinzu, but the Tower of God also has spells. Not much yet is known about spells except for a couple of things. Arlene was known to use spells since coming into the tower. This was actually how she preserved the body of her child sometime later on. Perhaps due to this association with Arlene, the Jahad family does not know much about spells since they're considered taboo. A little bit later on, Bomb is shown to somehow be able to break spells with his Shinzo moves. He has also been shown to be resistant to them. This is possibly due to Bomb being an irregular, or possibly due to his connection with its mother. As it stands right now, Bomb is the child of that prophecy, the chosen one for this great destiny. Funny, since Jahad was once described in a similar manner. Let's see what type of ruler Bomb potentially becomes. As of the webtoon, Tower of God isn't even halfway done, so you got another 10 plus years for this Tower of God climb to go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like. If this does get to like 5,000 plus, I'll definitely do more Tower of God lore videos. Also, please try out and download the Bleach game below. The game is free to play, plus at the same time you are helping a lot during these tough times. I can't stress that enough. Anyway, bonus question for hardcore fans. Who is the best girl or best boy? Is it Bum, Rock, and Dorsey, Rachel? Definitely let me know down below, or just say hi, because I do read the comments. Go ahead and check out my last Tower of God Bam video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.